What if I told you that one of the most powerful tools we have to prevent colon cancer isn't a brand new drug? It isn't an expensive treatment, but something much simpler, something that could be sitting right on your plate every single day. As a physician, I've seen firsthand how devastating colon cancer can be. It is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States. Every year, tens of thousands of lives are lost to this disease. And what's more concerning is that cases aren't just happening in older adults anymore. They're rising alarmingly in younger adults too. Behind every statistic is a real person, a parent, a spouse, a friend, a story cut short. And yet here's the hopeful truth. Research has shown us that many cases can actually be prevented, not through miracle cures, but through consistent everyday choices, especially the food we eat. And one of the simplest, most effective, and most evidence-based strategies we know is this: a high-fiber diet. Over the next 40 minutes, I want to take you on a journey into why fiber matters so much more than most people realize. We'll uncover the science of how fiber protects the colon at a microscopic level. We'll talk about real foods you can start adding to your meals today. We'll break down common myths you may have heard, like fiber is just for constipation or a salad is enough. And most importantly, I'll give you practical, step-by-step ways to bring these changes into your life in a way that feels doable, sustainable, and effective. By the end of this video, my goal is simple. I want you to walk away not just with knowledge, but with real actionable steps you can take, starting with your very next meal, to protect your colon, your health, and ultimately, your future. So let's begin. Colon cancer. Just the words themselves carry weight. It's not a rare disease hidden away in medical textbooks. It's one of the most common cancers we face today. In fact, colon cancer is the third most commonly diagnosed cancer in both men and women in the United States, and it's the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths. Every year, about 150,000 Americans are diagnosed, and more than 50,000 die from this disease. Now, let me pause here. These aren't just numbers. Behind every statistic is a face, a family, a loved one who never expected to hear those words. You have colon cancer. And here's what makes this even more concerning. For decades, colon cancer was thought of as a disease of older adults. That's why screening guidelines always focused on people over 50. But the reality is changing. Over the past 2 decades, we've seen a sharp rise in cases among younger adults, even people in their 30s and 40s, some of them otherwise healthy with no obvious warning signs. That shift has left doctors deeply concerned. So what's going on? Why are we seeing this increase? Part of the answer lies in risk factors. Yes, genetics do play a role. If you have a strong family history of colon cancer, your risk is higher. There are also certain inherited conditions that dramatically increase the likelihood. But here's the truth. Genetics alone don't explain the surge we're seeing. The much bigger driver? Lifestyle. And by lifestyle, I mean the everyday choices that accumulate over years. Diets high in red and processed meats. Low intake of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Obesity, which fuels inflammation and hormonal changes. Sedentary habits, long hours of sitting with very little movement. And yes, smoking and alcohol also contribute. These aren't abstract ideas. They're real, measurable factors that shape our risk. And they're also factors we can change. Now here's another layer to this problem. Colon cancer is sometimes called a silent killer. Why? Because it can develop quietly over many years without dramatic symptoms. In its earliest stages, people may feel perfectly fine. No pain, no major warning signs, maybe just a little fatigue or mild changes in bowel habits that are easy to ignore. By the time symptoms are obvious, the cancer may already be advanced. That's why prevention is so critical, because waiting for symptoms often means waiting too long. And this brings me to something I want you to really hear. Prevention is not only possible, it's powerful. We can't change our genes, but we can change our lifestyle. And one of the simplest, most overlooked, yet most effective shields we have against colon cancer is right in our diet. I'm talking about fiber. Fiber isn't flashy. It doesn't make headlines the way new cancer drugs do. But the evidence is clear. People who eat a high-fiber diet have a significantly lower risk of developing colon cancer. It's affordable, it's accessible, and it's something you can start today. So as we move forward in this video, I want you to keep that thought in mind. Colon cancer is a major problem, growing, affecting more people at younger ages. But hidden in plain sight, on your plate, is one of the most powerful tools of prevention we have. Next, let's dive deeper into what fiber actually is and why it has such a profound effect on the colon. So now that we've set the stage for why colon cancer is such a serious problem, let's shift to something much more practical: fiber. Most people hear the word fiber and immediately think of roughage. They picture bran cereal, maybe a bland bowl of oats, or something your grandmother told you to eat to stay regular. But here's the truth. Fiber is so much more than that. It's not just about digestion. It's not just about bowel movements. Fiber plays an active, protective role in your overall health, especially in the colon. Let's start with a clear definition. Dietary fiber is a type of carbohydrate found in plant-based foods, but unlike other carbs like sugars and starches, fiber is unique. Your body can't break it down completely. Instead, it passes through your digestive system relatively intact, and that's exactly why it's so important. Now, not all fiber is the same. In fact, we divide it into two main types: soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber dissolves in water and forms a gel-like substance in the gut. You'll find it in foods like oats, beans, apples, citrus fruits, and flax seeds. This type of fiber can lower cholesterol, regulate blood sugar, and, most importantly, feed the healthy bacteria living in your colon. When those bacteria ferment soluble fiber, they produce something called short-chain fatty acids, and one of those, butyrate, has been shown to protect colon cells from inflammation and cancer. On the other hand, insoluble fiber doesn't dissolve in water. Instead, it adds bulk to your stool and speeds up the passage of waste through your intestines. Think of it as nature's broom, sweeping the colon clean, reducing the contact time between potential carcinogens and the lining of your gut. You'll find insoluble fiber in foods like whole wheat, brown rice, nuts, beans, cauliflower, and leafy greens. Both types of fiber matter. Soluble fiber nourishes and protects at a microscopic level, while insoluble fiber keeps everything moving efficiently. Together, they form a powerful team. So where do you actually find fiber in your diet? The good news is it's abundant in foods that many of us should be eating more of anyway. Whole grains like oats, barley, quinoa, brown rice, and whole wheat bread. Fruits like apples, pears, berries, bananas, and oranges. Vegetables like broccoli, carrots, leafy greens, sweet potatoes, and cauliflower. Legumes such as lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and kidney beans. Nuts and seeds like almonds, chia seeds, flax seeds, and sunflower seeds. Now here's a myth I hear all the time. Fiber is just roughage. It doesn't really do anything important besides help you go to the bathroom. That couldn't be further from the truth. Yes, fiber helps with regularity, but it also lowers cholesterol, balances blood sugar, feeds the microbiome, reduces inflammation, and directly protects the colon lining from cancerous changes. This is not just roughage, it's functional medicine built into food. Another myth: I get enough fiber because I eat a salad every day. The reality? Most Americans only consume about 15 grams of fiber per day, when the recommended amount is 25 grams for women and 38 grams for men. A single salad might give you 3 or 4 grams, far short of what your body really needs. Think about that. Despite all our advanced medicine, most of us are falling woefully short on one of the simplest, most accessible forms of prevention. So here's the takeaway from this chapter. Fiber is not boring. It's not optional. It's one of the most powerful, multitasking nutrients you can give your body, especially when it comes to protecting your colon. In the next chapter, we're going to dive deeper into science. How does fiber actually stop cancer from forming? What's happening at the cellular level? And why are those short-chain fatty acids so important? Stick with me, because once you understand the science, you'll never look at a bowl of beans or a handful of berries the same way again. So now that you understand what fiber is, let's talk about why it's so powerful against colon cancer. This isn't just a theory, it's grounded in decades of scientific research. Fiber protects the colon in several very specific, very measurable ways. First mechanism, dilution. When you eat a high-fiber diet, fiber adds bulk and water to your stool. This does something very important. It dilutes potential carcinogens, the harmful substances that might otherwise linger in your colon. Imagine pouring ink into a glass of water. If there's only a little water, the ink looks dark and concentrated, but add more water and it spreads out, weakens, and becomes less harmful. Fiber works the same way inside your colon. Second mechanism, faster transit time. Insoluble fiber, the kind found in whole grains and vegetables, helps waste move through your intestines more quickly. Why does this matter? Because the longer waste sits in your colon, the more time any carcinogens have to interact with the lining of your gut. By keeping things moving, fiber reduces that exposure time. Think of it as shortening the window of opportunity for cancer to form. Third mechanism, fermentation and short-chain fatty acids. This is where it gets fascinating. When soluble fiber reaches the colon, it becomes food for your gut bacteria. These microbes ferment the fiber and produce something called short-chain fatty acids, especially one called butyrate. Butyrate is like rocket fuel for your colon cells. It provides energy for healthy cells, reduces inflammation, and has direct anti-tumor effects. In fact, some studies show that butyrate can actually help damaged cells self-destruct before they turn cancerous. It's nature's built-in chemotherapy, delivered right where you need it most. So we have three clear mechanisms: dilution, faster transit, and fermentation into protective compounds. Together, they explain why fiber isn't just helpful, it's transformative. But don't just take my word for it. Let's look at the evidence. The Nurses' Health Study, which followed more than 75,000 women for years, found that those with the highest fiber intake had a significantly lower risk of colon cancer compared to those with the lowest intake. The EPIC study, a massive European investigation involving over 500,000 people, found that every additional 10 grams of fiber per day was associated with a 10% reduction in colon cancer risk. Think about that. Just 10 grams, about the amount in a cup of beans or a large apple, reduced risk by double digits. So here's the bottom line from the science. Fiber dilutes carcinogens, speeds waste removal, nourishes the microbiome, and generates anti-cancer compounds. Large, long-term studies consistently show that people who eat more fiber have lower rates of colon cancer. And yet, most of us aren't even close to getting enough. The question then becomes, what does this mean for you in your day-to-day life? Because it's one thing to understand the mechanisms and the research, it's another to actually put it on your plate. And that's exactly where we're headed next. The practical side. How can you bring more fiber into your meals in a way that's simple, enjoyable, and sustainable? So far, we've focused on fiber's role in preventing colon cancer. But here's the thing, the benefits of fiber don't stop there. In fact, when you eat a high-fiber diet, you're protecting your body on multiple fronts. First, fiber lowers cholesterol. Soluble fiber, the kind you find in oats, beans, apples, and flax seeds, binds to cholesterol in the digestive tract and helps carry it out of the body before it's absorbed. Over time, this means lower LDL or bad cholesterol and a lower risk of heart disease. Considering that heart disease remains the #1 cause of death in the United States, this single benefit alone is worth paying attention to. Second, fiber improves blood sugar control. When you eat refined carbs, your blood sugar spikes quickly and then it crashes. But fiber slows that process down. It creates a steady release of glucose, which means fewer spikes and more stability. This is especially important for people at risk of type 2 diabetes or those already living with it. High fiber diets have consistently been shown to reduce the risk of developing diabetes in the first place. Third, fiber supports a healthy gut microbiome. We've already touched on how soluble fiber feeds your gut bacteria. Think of fiber as fertilizer for the good microbes. A diverse, well-nourished microbiome is linked not only to colon health, but also to immune function, mood regulation, and even brain health. When your gut bacteria thrive, you thrive. And finally, fiber helps with weight control. High fiber foods are more filling, yet often lower in calories. They slow digestion and keep you feeling satisfied longer. That means you're less likely to overeat or reach for empty calorie snacks. Over time, this helps reduce obesity, a major risk factor for not just colon cancer, but heart disease, diabetes, and many other chronic illnesses. So when we talk about fiber, we're not just talking about cancer prevention, we're talking about heart health, blood sugar balance, a thriving gut microbiome, weight control, and ultimately, a stronger, healthier body overall. In other words, fiber isn't just a colon story, it's a whole body story. And the more we understand that, the more powerful our daily food choices become. Now that we've covered the big picture, let's turn to the practical side. How do you actually add more fiber into your daily meals? When people hear 25 to 38 grams of fiber a day, it can sound abstract. What does that actually look like on your plate? Let's break it down in practical, simple steps. First, the targets. Women should aim for about 25 grams of fiber daily, while men need closer to 38 grams. Unfortunately, the average American barely hits 15 grams. That means most of us are falling short by half or more. So how do we close the gap? The good news is, it doesn't require dramatic changes. Small swaps add up quickly. Take bread, for example. White bread is basically stripped of fiber. Swap it for whole grain bread and you've instantly added 2 to 3 grams per slice. That means a sandwich could give you an extra 5 to 6 grams without any extra effort. Breakfast is another opportunity. Instead of sugary cereal, try a bowl of oats topped with berries and a sprinkle of nuts. Just one serving of oatmeal with fruit can pack 8 to 10 grams of fiber, nearly a third of your daily goal before lunch. Snacking, ditch the chips. A handful of almonds, sunflower seeds, or even an apple gives you fiber, plus healthy fats and antioxidants. These swaps aren't just higher in fiber, they also keep you satisfied longer, which makes it easier to control weight. It's also useful to visualize portions. For example, one medium pear has about 6 grams of fiber. A cup of cooked lentils, around 15 grams. Just a few strategic servings can get you surprisingly close to your daily target. And don't forget balance. Soluble fiber found in oats, beans, apples, and flaxseed helps with cholesterol and blood sugar. Insoluble fiber found in vegetables, whole grains, and nuts keeps your digestion moving smoothly. Your body needs both. One more tip. When you increase fiber, always increase fluids as well. Without enough water, that added fiber can cause bloating or discomfort. Hydration makes fiber work better and keeps your system running smoothly. So instead of thinking about fiber as a strict diet rule, see it as a daily habit of small, smart choices. With just a few intentional swaps, you can easily reach the 25 to 38 gram mark, and your colon, heart, and entire body will thank you for it. When it comes to fiber, there are a few stubborn myths that hold people back. Let's clear them up. Myth 1, fiber is only for constipation. Yes, fiber does help keep things moving, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Its real power lies in protecting the colon, lowering cholesterol, balancing blood sugar, and even feeding the good bacteria in your gut. To reduce fiber to just a bathroom aid is to miss its role as a true disease fighter. Myth 2, supplements are just as good as real food. This one is tricky. Fiber supplements like psyllium or methylcellulose can help if you're struggling to reach your goals, but they don't replace the full package, the nutrients, antioxidants, and phytonutrients found in whole foods. Think of supplements as a booster, not a substitute. The foundation should always be real food: fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Myth 3, a salad a day is enough. A bowl of lettuce might give you 1 to 2 grams of fiber. That's nowhere near the daily 25 to 38 grams you need. Don't get me wrong, salads are great, but you need variety and you need quantity. Beans, lentils, oats, pears, chia seeds, those are the heavy hitters. A salad can be a good starting point, but it won't carry the whole load. So if you've believed any of these myths, it's time to upgrade your perspective. Fiber isn't just about digestion, it's about prevention, protection, and long-term health. As we wrap up, let's bring this full circle. Colon cancer is one of the most common cancers and one of the most preventable. And the prevention tool we've talked about today isn't expensive, complicated, or out of reach. It's fiber, your body's secret weapon, sitting right there in fruits, vegetables, beans, grains, nuts, and seeds. Fiber dilutes harmful substances, speeds up transit time, nourishes healthy gut bacteria, and creates a powerful line of defense against disease. And the best part, it's accessible, affordable, and incredibly effective. So here's my challenge to you. Start tomorrow with just one simple swap. Maybe it's whole grain bread instead of white. Maybe it's an apple instead of a cookie, or beans added to your dinner. Small steps build powerful habits, and your colon and your future self will thank you. Remember, prevention is strongest when we combine lifestyle with medicine. A high-fiber diet plus regular screening packed like colonoscopy creates the most reliable shield against colon cancer. I want to thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of your health, one bite at a time.